know what it is now. Boys and girls of the podcast world. Matt and Tyler on the mics. They're gonna stay here until they agree. They're gonna stay here until they agree. Oh, thank you for listening. This show's called Until We Agree. Oh, thank you for listening.
All right, party's over. Victory lap's over.
Hey, ugly.
Victory lap's over. We're back.
This guy, I'm furious. It's been a bad week.
You had a good week, didn't you? You had a
No.
good week. Well, it's done. So that week is behind us. We're back to Until We Agree canon.
I can't wait to waste the next 45 minutes of my life talking to a moron.
All right, wait a second.
Here's a character. Me when I'm in a competition with the most illogical person in the entire world in my competition is Tyler. Man.
Yeah, we're back.
Dude.
We're back. I'm glad to be back. How was your week?
You know what? All that being said, it's been a good week still.
All that being said,
Yeah, I'm sick. I've already moved on from everything that was last week, and it's been a frustrating week having to come back to reality of who you are as a person. But what's been good, we've been going crazy on the analytics. This was by far uncontested our best analytical week as far as reach goes ever. Let me put you onto some numbers really quick. Started posting some reels, some videos, some clips of the pod because, as you may have known, this is Matt from Until We Agree with Matt and Tyler from Until We Agree. Welcome back to the show. As you may have known, we did some film of this podcast last week, some video, if you will, and posted that up on different social media sites. Let me put you under a reach of 6,000 new listeners. So, yeah, crazy, right? 6,000 people have now come in contact with the Until We Agree product. And I just want to say to all of them who may be listening, if this is your first episode, welcome to the Rat Pack. This show is the only podcast that keeps going until we agree. And that happens every single week. We always end on an agreement, and there's no agreements until that point. I promise you of that. And everyone who listens will back me on that. So that
being said,
yes,
it is time to find some common ground because I had a story.
Oh no, okay.
Not an agreement, but common ground. They're different things.
Oh, okay.
I had a story that I wanted to share, and I think it's fair to say that we're both pasty young men.
More than the average for sure, yeah.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't say pale. I wouldn't go that far for either of us, but we definitely not afraid of the sun,
right?
But it doesn't do us any favors being out in it.
Let's just put it like this. Old listeners of the show would know this. I got one sunburn this summer, and I was itchy for over a week. Anyways, keep going.
So a while ago, a couple weeks ago, I met my girlfriend's niece.
Sure.
And she's like 2, and she's in a phase where she likes to go get stuff and hand it to you. She's like, "This is to you," and you say thank you.
I bet you guys have a lot in common.
Okay, that's rude because she went once she gave me one of her toys. She's like, "This is to you," and I was like, "Thank you." And then she goes into the other room for a minute. And I'm like, "What is she doing?" And she brings back sunscreen, and she says, "This is to you."
Sure. And
I found it extremely offensive. Because everybody looked and said he probably needs that.
Yeah, more than most for sure.
Because I guess I'm blindingly white according to feedback from focus groups that we've done for the podcast. Mm-hmm. But what can we do?
One of the main reasons we don't do more video content is there's been an uptick when we do post reels of ourselves. There's an uptick in visits to the eye doctor. Yeah,
because we're not allowed to use Flash.
Mm-hmm. Just the normal camera.
Our content has been taken down.
Yeah.
Using Flash before because it just it doesn't register on Instagram as Anyway, so
yeah.
that's past.
So it sounds like that baby sounds like it is smarter than you actually.
It probably is. Anyways, moving past that.
Thanks for sharing that. That was a good story.
No, yeah, thank you. 1 year ago today, and this works for either today, we are filming this on August 5th, or 1 year ago, the day that you're hearing this, if you're listening on release day, August 6th. Do you know what 1 year ago today, August 5th was?
I think I do, but why don't you tell me?
It was the day that I texted you at 9 p.m.
Uh-huh.
and said, "I think I'm gonna get laid off tomorrow."
Okay.
And then
No. No, do not make me look like a bad guy here. Do not.
what'd you say though?
No,
But
do not make me. You said.
Hold on. Let's do some world building.
Okay.
Everybody in the world, if they got their that text from, I'll put it out there, their future best man, if they got that text, what do you think you would say if you got that text out?
Stop.
Backpack?
Stop.
What would you guys say?
No, this
now,
is.
no,
this
I'll
is
tell you what
hearsay.
Matt said.
This is hearsay.
Actually,
This
I'll
is
let
No. This is revisionist history. I can explain myself because the way you're framing it makes me sound like a really bad guy, and I would like to argue that at worst I was just a bad guy in the situation.
Well, I will say something that does help your case. I didn't actually text you and saying I think I'm going to get laid off. I think I just tried to call you or FaceTime you, and that was the intent, was to talk about the fact that I thought I was going to get laid off.
Yes.
And I think you declined the call because you weren't feeling up to talking that day.
Uh-huh.
And so I just kept it to myself, and then I woke up bright and bushy-tailed at 9 a.m. and got on an HR call and was told I wasn't allowed to work there anymore.
Well,
and then about an hour later, a tornado hit the city that we lived in, and I didn't have power for a week. So it was a good week for me. But
I do believe that they did say you're not allowed to work here anymore. However, you have to work the next 5 days.
They did say that, but then not only was I already planning on like just taking PTO, like I said, a tornado came through and took down a power line next to my house that, made that not a possibility. So I just ended up taking that PTO and called it a day with that company. Got my severance and skedaddled.
They called it a day for you more, it seemed.
They did call it a day with me, I guess.
That's really okay.
But not really. If you think about it, I got off that call at 9 a.m. and I was supposed to like check my email. Like, what was I supposed to
do? Exactly. No, I'm glad you've already rewritten the rewriting you had done, because yes, you had only called me that night, and you calling me is not out of the ordinary. So I didn't think, oh, this guy's about to have world-changing news that he needs to talk through with me. What happened was I was kind of bummed out just for my own reasons, and you called me. And I was like, man, I don't know if I can really turn it on right now, like the charm that Tyler deserves as a future best man. So what I did was I texted you and said, hey man, just really not feeling up to it tonight. I'm sorry. I just can't really talk right now. And then you didn't give me any more that night about the potential of you getting fired the next morning. That being said, the next morning when you told me that, I responded within seconds to minutes expressing my condolences and said, man, that's so whack. They don't deserve you. And I believe I was your second or third call after you got off that call. And I did answer that one because I started pacing around my my kitchen. Probably didn't even have socks on because it was so early in the morning, and that kitchen floor was always like really sticky for some reason. So it made kind of like that noise. You know the noise I'm talking about. It's like
yep, like
yeah. You probably didn't hear that.
I do know the noise,
but
no, and I did one too. So
okay, good.
Well, I'm just let us know which one's noise was more accurate.
I think I'm just gonna keep yours now. I think yours sounded better.
Okay, cool. I'm kind of the noise guy on the podcast.
For sure.
No, anyways.
Yes.
Yeah. So
bad guy, not the worst
happened,
guy.
But I will say it all ended up working for the best, because then I got like 2 months off,
unpaid
severance.
2 months off. Oh,
well,
did you
I had severance, so it was technically paid at that point. And I just got to like play golf and stuff for 2 months, which was pretty fun. So I can't really complain about it too much. And it wasn't your fault, I don't think.
No, I did write letters to your company.
No.
Defamatory for sure.
Okay, good.
Speaking of, I got an email today. I've been on a little bit of a job hunt recently. And I found a job at Tyler's company that I was so perfect for, and the recruiting process was going really, really well. And then they went totally dark on me. Like I thought I had really like nailed everything up to that point. And then they were like, we'll get back to you soon. And then a few weeks, like I think 2 weeks go by, and I hear nothing. So I email them, hear nothing again. Almost 2 months later now to the date, they said, oh, so sorry. That job, we filled that job, forgot to get back to you. However, we really think you're the perfect candidate and want to move forward with you at this job. $20,000 less per year though. I was a perfect candidate. Isn't that crazy?
But
Anyway.
perfect candidate. Well, I think part of the reason that happened is because in my recommendation letter, I think I said he's not the perfect candidate for this role, but if you were to give him maybe less money,
A lot less money.
I think his value would be more suited
Sure.
in that price range. And so that might have been on me.
Oh,
So
thanks, man. You know what?
Yeah,
We're
no
going to keep, I told him thanks, but no thanks. We're just going to keep moving forward. Like we're
no
about
problem.
to do on this podcast, because it's
On this
everyone's
podcast. Why'd you say it like that?
Sorry, I'm trying this new character that uses the wrong vowels sometimes. But on this podcast, we
There you
have
go.
a segment that has been met with neutral to negative reviews, but one that we love: Surprise Topic Monday. And for the faithful listener, Surprise Topic Tuesday. Whenever you're listening, pick a day. That's the day you're learning about these surprise topics. So sometimes they're debate topics, sometimes they're just about things going on in our lives or just going on in the world. So, do you have a surprise topic for us to kick us off?
You know what? I do. And I guess it's not really a debate on this one, but it was kind of I wanted to go down the list of, all the Mandela effect things
Yes.
and see like what side you were on of all those.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
I have no context besides what you just said. So
Oh, you don't know what this is?
I do know what it is, but I know what it
Okay.
is, but I don't know what you're about to bring to me. But I'm
Well,
happy.
the first one was the thing that, for anybody that doesn't know what the Mandela effect is.
No, I think we should leave those listeners in the dark.
So the first one is,
No, please explain.
Okay, it came about, I think, because of the first one, which is Nelson Mandela's death. Like everybody thought that he died in jail, when in fact he did not die in jail, and so it's like a kind of a public misremembering of events is kind of what the effect is.
He died and then turned into Morgan Freeman, I think. Is that the theory that we're going off of?
No, I don't. I've never heard that theory.
Oh,
But what I will ask you, how do you spell Looney Tunes?
LOONEYTUNES. I'm gonna put a space between the Y and the T, though.
Okay, you got that right. That was the first one. Like people think it's Looney Tunes with TOONS.
Oh, you know what? Now that I'm saying it, I actually think that's what it is. I thought the loony was the part that was spelled wrong. I don't know why I spelled tunes like that, because that's like
Right.
music tunes.
Right. But it's right. So you got it right.
Oh, but
Now-
that's what I knew that then.
Yeah. So
Obviously.
the Berenstein Bears. Is it the Berenstein Bears or the Berenstain Bears?
Well, see, I've heard of this one before, and I'll be
Okay,
honest,
so you
I
don't.
don't know either way.
I always thought it would. I was on the side. I always thought it was the Berenstein Bears, but it's the Berenstain Bears.
And it always has been. Is that correct? Or it hasn't always been?
That's the point of this. It always has been, but everybody always thinks it's the Berenstein Bears.
What does Morgan Freeman have to do with this then?
Not a single thing. You're the one that brought him up, to be honest with you.
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, no. So Curious George's tale. Does he have one or not?
See, this one, I would assume he does, but now that we're here, I'm assuming he doesn't. I also,
Right.
but
You would think so, though.
you would think so, and I think that one maybe is just tricky, just because monkeys have tails and this one monkey doesn't. But that one I'm not engrossed enough in the Looney Tunes, or not Looney Tunes, Curious George lore to know enough about it.
Right. All right, next. Spell Febreze. This is just spelling bee part 2.
Febreze.
See, no. That's what everybody thinks. It's Febreze. There's no 2 E's, which doesn't make any sense, in my opinion.
Oh, you know what? Now that I'm seeing the logo, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, seeing the logo definitely would help.
Uh-huh.
Spell Oscar Mayer.
OSCARMEYER.
See, you'd think so, wouldn't you?
I'm sensing a trend.
It's with an A.
I think maybe what this Morgan Freeman effect is kind of all about is just words that are spelled close to what they should be.
Now, you said the Morgan... I heard you say the Morgan Freeman effect.
Is that not what it's always
What
been
is
called?
that? Nope, it's the Mandela effect.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, the Mandela effect. I think it's just, besides that, the Mandela one, which is about someone being dead and then also alive, all the rest of them just kind of seem like people's names that were then made into companies, but like the person's name is not the most traditional way of spelling the name.
Yeah, I think it's more of a branding thing, and then we just associate it with like what makes more sense in our head.
Sure.
But I mean, hey, I just want to go down a few of those.
This is dynamite, yeah.
Yeah, no. How about you go?
Before we do, weren't you working on a character this week that you wanted to bring up?
Was I?
Yeah, you were. You because you were talking about how you want to be the reference guy on the podcast now.
Oh yeah, no, I'm really good at this.
How you refer back to like other events. So while I'm going through my story, I would love for you to maybe workshop. This is kind of an experimental episode. I know we just reached 6,000 new listeners this week, and so it may not be the time to experiment live on air. But I would love for you to kind of maybe workshop this character. And again, the character is the guy who just makes references to other things. And that's kind of how he makes the podcast pop. So I would love for you to try that out.
This is going to be rough.
Yeah.
This is going to be rough. I have not been preparing. I've not been preparing too hard for this.
No, you're an improv
goes.
expert though. So you got this.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So here's my topic. Not really a debate either, which I know what you're thinking. This is a debate podcast, no debates. That's kind of why we get neutral to negative reviews on this. But I hope it comes across well, because this is actually a pretty personal story to me. Anything?
A personal story. That's like a.
Take a second. I'll let you keep working on that one. I'm gonna keep moving forward.
Okay. You keep going.
So back in my early days, I'd say probably starting in 6th grade through high school,
This is like Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
It's just like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. That's good. Very good, buddy. So what everyone kind of has their track that they kind of like fall into, and that's kind of their social track throughout.
Track. Speaking of track, Olympics.
Yeah. Well, actually, we're gonna get to Olympics, so I'm glad you called that out. That's
nice.
That's part of the story. So,
Oh wow.
Hey, you're doing great with the references. Maybe like every 30 seconds though. I'm gonna cut this out, so don't worry.
No, I mean, here's the thing. I just feel like would you tell Mozart to hit this is a reference, by the way. Would you tell Mozart to hit a right note every 30 seconds or every time he feels one?
No, that's a great point. I'm just thinking that our audience retention, while our numbers are going crazy right now, is plummeting. So, plummeting. All right. Well, yeah, your track.
Oh,
No. Okay. So, social hierarchy, and like your social class you kind of fall into, kind of falls into what your after school activity is, if you will. It could be sports. It could be an art, a trade, if you will. Mine that I kind of fell into was golf, which back in the day wasn't cool. It is cool now. It's kind of ridiculous. But anyways, turned into a good golfer. Wasn't a great golfer. Didn't have enough to play D1 college golf or anything. Kind of plateaued. Didn't love the sport all that much, frankly. It wasn't as fun as it is now. Just
you retired for a while.
I did for about 4 years. I kind of was just this has not been fun. It's just kind of added stress, and I didn't even really like it when I was even good at it. So good now. But all that being said, when I really wanted to make a push for this, and this was in 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, I was really this could be my path to make it in something that's really, really cool. Wasn't that good. So I would play in these events throughout the state. Tennessee, they had these junior tours that you could sign up and play in these tournaments. It wasn't called that at the time, but it is called that now. So okay. I would enter these tournaments and play. And if you got the top 3, you would get a medal, like the Olympics. Any reference?
That is like the Olympics that is going on right now.
Sure, like Simone Biles. So
you're nothing like Simone Biles, by the way.
Yeah, I'm more like the person who went to the Olympic qualifiers and got 36th place out of 40 people.
Wait, I heard a story. Can I inject a story that I heard?
Only if it's a reference.
It is a reference
to
what you just said. So there was a person that qualified for skiing by just entering an absurd amount of skiing events and doing the most basic, is the half pipe or snowboarding maybe. And so she would just go up and down without doing a single trick or getting any air. But since she never fell, she technically placed. And then all she had to do was get top 40, and she would strategically pick events with less than 40 people. And so she automatically qualified and then got dead last in the Olympics.
But she made the Olympics, which is sick.
Yeah, which is sick.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe we should look for sports and opportunities to do that.
I think that is something to look into, especially if we can get some funding from the Until We Agree family, with some ads. Once we kind of bolster these numbers, let's use all that money to qualify for the Olympics. Anyways, this story does not end with me making the Olympics. Spoiler alert. But these tournaments, especially early on in middle school, early high school, I really wanted to do well. I couldn't crack the top 3 though and get a medal. And I was like, if I get a medal, this is going to be my ticket to the top. Even a bronze medal in a regional Knoxville, Tennessee, small tournament would be enough for me to like get the attention and make it on tour. Basically, was kind of my thought process.
That's a wild thought process.
Yeah, it was an immature thought process, I would argue. I think at some point I developed more folds in my brain to allow me to realize that's not how that works. You got to be good all the time and also have people know who you are. Anyways, that all that being said is I entered a tournament and it was very important to me that I do well in it. And this is the best tournament up to this point I'd ever played in. Easily, like, got top 3. It was kind of like there were 3 of us who were really, really good and everyone else kind of didn't do that well. So I like separated from the pack and I secured 3rd place in this tournament. However, a guy I was playing with whose name is, this was in 7th or 8th grade. I remember this to this day. His name was Trey Lashley. And he was really, really bad. Like, I think I beat him by probably 15 shots, which was weird because everything is online. Like, you can see everyone's scores because if they'd played any tournaments, and he played in a lot of tournaments with this tour, and he had won like maybe half of them and placed in the top 3 in the rest of them. So, at the time, like this changed but this tournament exactly, they didn't give out the awards on site. They would just mail you the awards after if you place in the top 3, because I don't think they had them like prepared or whatever, because it was early in the season. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I leave thinking I just got in the top 3, and I played with Trey Lashley in my group, and so I know he was bad, and the other guy in our group was horrible. He had like never played golf before, it seemed like, and he was apparently very easily manipulated. So what Trey Lashley did, and how golf tournaments work, is one other person in your group keeps your official scorecard, and then you both had to sign it when you turn it in saying this is the actual score that I got. I was not keeping Trey Lashley's score. The other kid was. So at some point during the round, right, I think at the end of the round, Trey Lashley comes up to this kid and says, hey, we need to get all my scores down on the scorecard, which you should be doing it hole by hole, but he didn't. He waited till the end of the round and said, here are all my scores hole by hole. And this kid who had never really like done this before just believed every number this kid said for Trey's scorecard. And they turned in Trey. I went home. Trey Lashley won that tournament.
I'm guessing he maybe cheated a little bit.
He cheated an immense amount. He took I think 20 shots off his score and said he shot even par. And I was sitting in the 3rd place slot because the turn was over. I was sitting in the 3rd place slot, and I was like, okay, that's it. I won. But we left because there was no like ceremony. We look online. He won the tournament. He shot even par and won the tournament. All this being said, I have not forgotten that to this day. I was so devastated because that was like my first time. I was like, I can win a medal, and that's going to set me on a trajectory to success. And it really kind of messed me up a little bit. I didn't really have a great rest of that summer as far as the tournaments went. And I don't think that's necessarily because of Trey. I think that was just because I wasn't very good. But all that being said, fast forward to today, the Olympics. I've been seeing a lot of videos about how Australia had more gold medals than us after like the first like 3 days of the Olympics. It was like 9-8. And all like the Australian news site. But all that being said, the US has like had like 20 more overall medals, which feels very important to the Olympics. It's such an honor to be included in the Olympics, and to win a medal is like the greatest honor because it means you're in the top 3 best in the world. And we should celebrate that our country represents these people. Anyways.
Bro's passionate about bronze medals.
That's what they're important. They're important. You've earned the right to be celebrated if you get a bronze medal in an event. So, Australia news outlets are talking about how they're the dominant, like we are their little brother. Oh, big bad USA can't get more gold medals. We're beating them in the medal race because after 3 days of the Olympics, they have more gold medals than us. At this point, we have run away with the gold medal count and the total medal count against Australia. And all that being said, the same way that Trey Lashley has no idea the impact he had on my life, it's kind of the same way that Australia thinks they have this rivalry with us when we give little to no thought about the success or failures of Australia on an in and out basis every single day.
But do you think that your Trey Lashley's Australia? Because I bet he doesn't think about
that's what I'm saying.
He knocked out of bronze.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I am the USA. No, I'm Australia.
And you're just chirping Trey Lashley.
And he's
who
the
is
United States
USA,
of America.
who you just praised. But even though the USA is not cheating for these medals, I mean, we probably are, but everybody is.
Right.
And
it's more of a parallel. This is my one shot at a reference. Trey is the USA and I'm Australia. It doesn't matter what happens. He's always going to be better than me.
Right. Okay. So you're just
Because
pro USA.
That's what the history.
You're just pro USA.
Well, I have to be.
Is there a reference that I'm missing here between the USA and Australia? Because I just don't have it.
I'm just saying Australia thinks about us a lot more than we think about them.
Oh, for sure.
They want to be us and we don't care about them at all. And that's essentially the same thing that happened with me and Trey Lashley.
Yeah. And can you reach out to him and get him on the podcast?
I've tried to find him. I can't find him anymore.
That would be so
He's
funny
probably
if we
in
could
jail.
find him and track him down.
That bum.
Yeah, probably in jail for, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the statute of limitations wasn't up for that crime of forging his scorecard and it caught up to him.
I hope it caught up to him. And if it doesn't, like people like that don't just change overnight. So you got to think that it was kind
especially
of
when it works out and he gets a gold medal.
Yeah, it was his gateway drug into much more nefarious acts for sure.
Yep. What was Trey Lashley up to in 2001?
That you gotta wonder if he wasn't maybe in the back rooms doing some
pulling the strings.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Like he manipulated that one young boy. He went to. Oh yeah, Trey Lashley's behind it all.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
What? Because that was Kim's question. Is she would love to hear our low stakes conspiracy theories. And then her example was that you can't swim. Matt from Until We Agree can't swim. By the way, I'm Tyler from Until We Agree, and
Tyler's
that's Matt from Until We Agree. And then she said you always blame not getting into the pool by the fact that he hates being barefoot, hoping that the absurdity of this statement will draw people away from the fact that he lacks a basic life skill.
So
now, I'll go out on a limb real quick, and I hate to do this. I've seen you swim.
You have?
Dude, we've boogied together.
Boogieing is not swimming, dude. I think you know that.
Yeah, but what happens when you fall off your boogie, as you often do?
Bro, here's the thing: is we're in 2 feet of water because Jacksonville doesn't produce the waves that we want it to.
That's true.
I really can't like swim at a level that's considered a like even
elite,
intermediate, frankly.
But like, you can tread water. Like, you're not gonna drown if somebody puts you in like.
I can tread water. I can tread water for 42 seconds. I bet.
Okay, I mean,
we
but
should
like
test
you can,
that. That'd be a fun thing to test.
And if somebody throws you into a 10-foot pool, like in the middle of it, can you get to the edge?
I could get to the edge eventually for sure. If it takes
eventually,
as long as it's less than 42-second swim from the middle of the pool to the side, I can do it. It's not pretty. Head stays above water the whole time. Legs and arms move at different times. I think the thing that she's really driving home is that no one in my life in Nashville, because I moved to Nashville in the last couple of years, but no one in Nashville has ever seen my bare feet.
I've seen them.
Bro, here's the thing, man. You're not.
I've got screenshots of them.
You're not in Nashville. I know you do, man, and we're gonna keep them in there. We're gonna keep them in the camera roll, and no one's gonna see them. I decided that that's kind of who I'm gonna be here, as someone who respects himself enough to not show his feet in Nashville. And so to this day, I am confident that any new friend I made.
Why don't you just wear water shoes?
Well, I don't get in the pool. Why would I need water shoes?
But if the reason for not getting in the pool is the fact that you don't want to show your feet.
No, those two things are totally separate.
Do you actually hate being barefoot?
These two things are totally separate.
Do you actually hate being barefoot?
I don't love I like being barefoot. I don't love people seeing my bare feet.
Why? I think my feet are gross and
they are.
I don't care.
You should.
Why?
Because they're gross.
Yeah,
and
but
people
who cares?
People think less of
their
you.
feet.
No, yours are worse though.
What size shoe do you wear?
I don't want to talk about that.
What size shoe do you wear?
I don't want to talk about that. Please don't make me talk about that.
What size shoe do you wear? I'm getting you some shoes. What size shoe do you wear?
I don't want to talk about 9.5.
Okay. I mean, that's not bad.
It's little.
I mean, like, sub 10's crazy, but that's not bad.
Look, man.
I'm 10.5, so whatever. You know?
Yeah, I guess that's not super impressive either.
It's really not.
Yeah.
And what I will say.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, please say your thing.
No, I will say, like, I mean, but other than being taller and having larger feet and probably longer arms, like that's just, I mean, that's just who I am.
Was that two
you,
truths?
You know?
That was 2 lies and a truth.
No, I
You-
definitely have longer arms than you.
Yeah, because you have that gorilla ratio
Gorilla.
or whatever you called it.
Ape index +1.
Yeah, the plus 1 ape index. But no, there's like photographic evidence all over at Until We Agree on Instagram. If you want to submit your own Q&A questions or leave a comment on Spotify, we think Spotify comments are working now. Leave a comment. Everyone can see your comments now. It's so sick. Leave us a question in the comments there or on Instagram. We want to know more. You can be just like Kim. Anyways, everyone can see on Instagram that I'm actually just verifiably much taller than you, and there's no way around that. Your ape index might be better. Your feet might be barely bigger, but it's not like a great thing to brag about because you're still like a below average foot. So let's not lose our minds over that either.
I don't know if that's below average. I think that's probably close to average.
It might be close to like average on like the entire world, but like in our social circles, I feel like we are surrounded by people who are like bigger than us. Like shoe.
The average shoe size for men is around 10.5.
Okay.
You have the average shoe size of somebody who's 5'6" to 5'9", and you're on the low side of that.
That's the thing, is my feet don't match the rest of my body. I don't know what happened with them, but they're just not big. But I do think it makes me more agile and faster, and I prove that time and time again.
That absolutely isn't true.
I hope this reach gets us to 10,000 followers more, because 6,000 people saw our stuff this week. So we can hope. Anyways, the Kim example are just 2 true statements. I don't like being barefoot, and I don't love swimming just because I don't know how to. But I don't think I chose to not be barefoot around these people because of the swimming. That is an easy excuse for sure.
Okay,
Anyways,
well, would you like to give your low stakes conspiracy?
Yes. I've always thought about this since 2009 probably, because I know I haven't seen this IP film franchise any other movies.
Wait, 2009, and you haven't seen this IP franchise in any other movies. What are you going with here? What's going on? Okay.
Some of them, they might be the 2 most highest grossing movies of all time.
Okay. Avengers?
No, Avatar. Avatar 1 and Avatar 2.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, you've mentioned this before. Okay, yes. Yeah. I've seen the first one, but I haven't seen the second one.
The thing is I'm sure a lot of people have seen them because they were culturally significant. But I only think they were culturally significant because Disney told us they were. Because I cannot wrap my head around how both those movies, if you think about them versus the cultural impact of, like, think about the Avengers Infinity War into Endgame. Think about how many people were involved in that outside of, like, talking about that outside of the movie. No one talks about, like, any of the story around Avatar 1. And it took, 14, 13 years for them to create the sequel. I can't believe that those numbers aren't inflated in some way, because no one cares enough about these movies to go see them. There has to be such a high rewatch level for that to be the highest grossing movie of all time. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't really get it either, because I think the first time I ever saw Avatar was on the way to the beach in the back of a friend's Sienna.
Sure, and that does not count towards box office gross.
And no, it doesn't. So, like, my money didn't go towards them. And I remember just being like, this is kind of boring. I don't even remember what it's about now because I haven't seen it since.
That's the thing. I can't even speak to it because I haven't seen it, but no one really can, like, speak to how good of a movie it is. I think
it was all, like, CGI at that point was so new, and it was only CGI. So people were blown away by it, but now
has
it's
no
just
one
like,
seen the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka movie? What are we talking? Like, CGI has been
that's
around.
A great movie.
Yeah, that's a great movie. And people know more. The average person knows more about the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka movie than they do about Avatar, and Avatar 2: The Way of the Water. But
I don't even know where they got the story for Avatar.
No one knows anything about it. It doesn't make. Could it have grossed a ton of money? Absolutely. I don't deny that at all.
We hate the top highest grossing movies on this. We hate Titanic. We hate Avatar.
This might be I might have a thing with James Cameron, honestly. But
yeah,
I just don't know.
Is he an industry plant?
He has to be. That's my final conclusion. I don't have any other reasoning besides the fact that James Cameron is so deep in someone's back pocket that we just have to live with the fact that he's going to get whatever number he wants to be set on his movies.
Let me look up. I want to see some other movies that he made. So Avatar 2. Obviously we know Titanic.
Ugh.
Terminator.
Okay.
I haven't seen those, to be honest with you, but they're pretty big, right?
Yeah, they're huge. And I bet more people know more. Think about just I'll be back. Get to the chopper.
Yeah.
Those two lines alone.
Now that's not Terminator.
It's not?
Nope. It's
Get to
Arnold,
the chopper.
but it's not. That's not Terminator. No.
What's that from?
That is from, let's see, Predator.
Oh, okay. Anyways, I'll be back. Terminator. I've never heard anyone quote Avatar or Avatar 2: The Way of the Water.
Well, and it already has Avatar 3, 4, and 5 slated on his movies. 2025, 2029, and 2031.
And if
that's
those
so far away.
If those continue to be successful, that's great. But I just don't think people saw them at the level that we're giving them credit for. And I don't know how the numbers were bolstered, but they were somehow. I just can't explain it. And even like when this one, I was a lot younger when Avatar came out. I wasn't like privy to like box office and all like the news around like movie releases. Now I am. And Avatar 2 was marketed well. It didn't have to be marketed that well because obviously apparently everyone in the world loves this movie so much that we just have to go see it immediately when it comes out in theaters. But it wasn't like it was like this huge cultural moment. Like Endgame being the highest grossing movie of all time makes so much sense because everyone knew about the snap. Everyone had been following this story since 2008. It's been a 10-year process of what, 15 movies that like culminated into this one moment where every single character comes into one. You didn't even have to see all the movies. You just had to have seen one of the movies and say, oh, Iron Man, I like Iron Man. Oh, Black Panther, I like Black Panther. Let me go see this movie that has this huge... Spider-Man, I love Spider-Man. That has this cultural significance. There's no cultural significance to Avatar, and that's why it's this... Even Titanic. Titanic probably is the highest grossing movie when we think about like inflation numbers and everything. But like there's cultural significance to Titanic. And I can live with the fact it's a horrible movie. I can live with the fact that it can be the highest grossing movie of all time because people loved it. No one loves Avatar.
7 hours long.
I had to take 2 PTO days to watch all of Titanic. It was crazy.
Yeah, I still can't believe somebody let back in the day. Like it's got to be a marketing nightmare to be like, oh yeah, here you want to let's get this movie going. We're gonna have to put it on 2 discs.
2 VHS tapes, no less.
Like I can't think of something that 2 VHS tapes. That's the one I had.
Mm-hmm.
That kills the vibe having to take it out of the VHS player, put the new one in, and rewind the tape of the first one while you're watching the second one like that.
Especially when it's the worst movie of all time.
Yeah, and that's
just
okay.
Disgusting.
That's a good right point. So so your conspiracy theory is that Avatar is fake news.
The box office numbers of Avatar and Avatar 2: The Way of the Water are fake news.
Okay.
Somehow, some way.
I can get behind that. I have 2. I have one that I believe could be true and one that I came across that I just thought was funny and that I don't think we can disprove.
Sure.
So the one that I think's funny is that rocks are actually soft and squishy and they tense up when we touch them.
So they'd be sentient.
Maybe.
Hey, buddy, that's stupid.
No.
Hey, buddy.
Not sentient, but like we can't disprove that. Maybe they're so squishy, but to like when we touch them or when they're acted upon, they just stiffen up, and you can't disprove it. And
what about mountains? What about mountains that exist on rocks? The rocks have to hold themselves up. They have to hold themselves up, and they can't be squishy.
No, and what I'm talking about rocks.
Yeah, the Rocky Mountains. Have you ever heard of the Rocky Mountains?
I don't like those.
He's so back to being stupid.
I don't like those.
Yeah, I know.
All right, I didn't put too much research or thought into it. I just thought it would be a funny one. So thanks for ruining it.
No, sorry.
Thanks for ruining it.
No. Say it again.
Thanks for
say it again.
Say what again?
Say your conspiracy theories, like the theory again.
Your conspiracy, like again.
I'm cutting that out so no one's even gonna know what you're talking about. Anyways, say your conspiracy theory again.
Your conspiracy theory again.
See, you're turning into my roommate right now. You give me nothing.
Okay.
This is the funny one.
This is the funny one.
Okay.
Rocks are actually soft and squishy. They just tense up when we touch them. Cue the fake laughter. Yep, I get it.
All right, is this your real one?
Yeah, my real one is that all viruses, not nowadays so much, but early viruses, like when, 2005 to 2010, when computers were kind of just getting started, not getting started, but like getting more accessible in households, that viruses were manufactured by antivirus companies to sell antivirus.
Well, let me put you on to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who had polio way before 2005.
Now, I think there's been a miscommunication.
That's a reference for sure.
Yeah, that is a great reference.
Uh-huh.
And is polio a virus? I don't know what polio is. I think it's just that would probably simply be a disease, I believe.
Are not all viruses diseases? I'm not saying that
No,
is fact.
it must be.
That's
No,
more of a
polio is
yeah.
a virus.
Yeah,
it's
for
called
sure.
the polio virus, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not mad at you. But what I will say is I'm talking about computer viruses and you're talking about the human viruses.
Sure, we're talking about. Okay, I gotcha. I'm here.
And to extend that, maybe all viruses are created in a lab.
Uh-huh.
Like the pandemic.
Yeah. No, it sounds like every virus, no matter what form, is homegrown. Is that the stance you're taking?
I think every virus, whether it be for humans or for computers, are made by Norton Antivirus.
Uh-huh.
And so that's the stance I'm taking.
You know which one was sick? And maybe I can't, I don't know about the swine flu.
Nice pun. That's a nice pun.
Yeah. The swine
That
flu.
was a good
we
one
got off of
because
school.
you were out
Yeah.
of school, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And that was kind of what we all thought COVID would be, was like another swine flu where it's like, oh, we'll take 2 weeks off of work and school and then we'll be back to normal. Slightly different impact the second time around.
No, for sure.
But
for
swine
sure,
flu
different.
was swine flu was sick, man.
Well, and it had just like a more interesting name. Like COVID is like very guttural.
Yeah.
Whereas swine flu is more of a, oh, it's like a pig. Haha.
Yeah, exactly. So back to what you were saying.
Yeah, back to it.
You were saying computer viruses were made by
Norton Antivirus.
yeah.
Or McAfee.
Yeah.
McAfee too.
I
They
think
probably
that
teamed
I
up.
think that's probably totally fair.
And I wonder if something like that will ever come out. The only reason I somewhat think like, oh, that could be true is because most viruses aren't really harmful.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, nowadays there's plenty that steal data and that's not great. But at the time there wasn't as much of that. So it was just like, it just like mess up your computer. So it felt like there wasn't as much of a point to have a virus. So leave a comment.
Leave a comment down below. Yeah, I think you're actually hitting the nail on the head because
Actually, leave
viruses
in the comments. Leave your IP address in the comments below.
Yeah, for sure. Viruses can't exist. Viruses can't exist unless someone creates them, right? They just don't come out of thin air.
Some might. I don't really know. We're not scientists. I think
didn't
that's
just-
important. I
they
think we should go back to media. Do you have anything else media wise you want to talk about?
Yeah, the moon landing was fake.
Okay,
Done
now
on
we're
a
talking.
done on a soundstage in Los Angeles, California.
Yeah. I don't even think the moon was real. So how could
That's
we
what I'm
land
saying.
up there?
How could a big round moon orbit around a flat Earth like we're on now? Anyway,
Especially when the sun already orbits us. How would the moon do it too?
Exactly. They would run into each other eventually.
Yeah, no, that's just not possible. And that's what a solar eclipse thinks it is.
Exactly. So, media. Thank you for the transition. I've started watching How I Met Your Mother recently.
Yep.
Not as bad as I thought it would be.
Let's go. Nice.
Because, and I'll say this. Does it have, I'm still like on season 1. Does it have work to do? Yes.
Did you see episode 10 yet?
I would assume so. I think I'm like.
The pineapple incident?
Yes.
That's my favorite episode.
I'm sure I've heard great things about it. But all that being said, does it cater to exactly what I want to see in a TV show where it's like someone falls in love?
You're going to compare it to
over
How Much... No. You're going to compare it to High School Musical, the series?
No. I'm getting there though. Well, actually, yeah, kind of, because it's like a cyclical thing where it's like the same guy falls in love with another person over and over again,
right.
And he's the main character. That being said, I don't like the main character all that much so far. Anyways,
Right, yeah.
So, all that being said, cyclical High School Musical, the series.
Oh, no.
You're giving me a chance. Tyler said, since I did the favor to him of making him my best man, he said that I could have the rest of the podcast, unlimited time, to dissect the drama surrounding the lead cast of High School Musical, the series, and the impact that it had on the cultural world around us. When we talk about Joshua Bassett dating Olivia Rodrigo, the fallout from that, the music that came from that, and then the relationship that followed with Sabrina Carpenter and the music that then came from that. So,
hey, Rat Pack. Sorry about that abrupt cut. We decided it would be best for retention and for our review's sake to leave this out because Matt went on for another 17 minutes and 24 seconds. So we're just going to end it here. Take it away, Hutch.
Thank you for listening.